to Italy. A busy summer of ingoings and outgoings, of course, headlined by Kevin De Bruyne joining Napoli, the champions, on a free transfer from Manchester City. Luka Modric goes to AC Milan, the grizzled veteran. Leon Bailey joins Roma on loan with an option to buy from Aston Villa. Jonathan David, the Canadian international, heads to Juventus. And Luis Enrique joins Inter Milan from Marseille. Outgoings, some interesting ones. Victor Osimhen goes to Galatasaray. Interesting that was the only club in for him at this point. Matteo Retegui goes to the Saudi League. Timo Weah to Marseille. Tijani Reinders to Manchester City from AC Milan. $63 million transfer. And of course, Dan Ndoye goes to Nottingham Forest. He's gotten off to a good start after his transfer from Bologna. And some transfer deadline day moves that we're expecting to see. We already saw Jamie Vardy set to join Cremonese. Yunus Musa just became official to Atalanta. Adrien Rabiot, we're going to talk about that in just a second, joining AC Milan from Marseille. Manuel Akanji to Inter Milan. This just happening just this morning on a move from Manchester City. And Rasmus Højlund is set to join the champions Napoli on loan from Manchester United. So to break it all down, we bring in our Serie A analyst, Marco Messina. Marco, it is deadline day, my man. Are you happy? Are you excited? Do you live transfer deadline day like some of the others, or maybe some other ones that are poo-pooing on the whole transfer deadline day?
Honestly, usually I don't get that excited, but there's something about this year that I've really liked. Maybe it's this new show that you guys have, that you're live for this final hour that's got me excited, or maybe it was the Cremonese fans who had tattoos of Jamie Vardy on their body and then made him sign it. I never expected to see that, but it's awesome. And I think overall, considering the lack of spending in Serie A, it wasn't a bad transfer market at all for us.
I mean, you mentioned Cremonese, Marco. After Baschirotto's goal and celebration, and then Jamie Vardy, I think I found my team in Serie A, by the way.
Look at that.
Hey, why'd your muscles get smaller?
All right, Marco, let's start breaking some of this down. Manuel Akanji going to Inter Milan after we saw their loss yesterday at the Giuseppe Meazza. What do you think about this signing? Is this enough? A 30-year-old center back that wasn't getting much playing time with Manchester City. Is this the answer for Inter?
So I would say that it's a good move, and I would have been excited that they're getting a defender because Stefano, as we saw yesterday, breaking it down, Inter is lacking something in the back line. The problem is, for me, then they let Pavard go to Marseille. So it's kind of like a one-for-one swap. I think that they needed to get Akanji and keep Pavard. And when you look at the terms that Pavard is also leaving the club with a loan with option to buy, and he's also reducing his salary, you have to expect that something happened there. So I do think Akanji's good. I think he'll help in the back three. Inter has had a problem, again, as we saw yesterday in their loss to Udinese in their debut game of the season at home at the Giuseppe Meazza. Their back line is just getting exposed. Inter want to play very quick and vertical and aggressive. That means losing passes. So they need some, not experience, but some speed in their back line. So it could be a good move, but I don't like that Pavard went out on the other end.
Marco, let's dive deeper into the strong potential of Adrien Rabiot going to Milan. And I kid you not, guys, I swear that the next game for Milan is against Bologna. And guess who's on Bologna? Jonathan Rowe, his former teammate at Marseille, with which he got into the scuffle in the Marseille locker room that set off this whole drama. How does Adrien Rabiot help out Milan in their midfield?
It's the most Serie A thing of all time, by the way. I have my popcorn ready. Sunday, September 14th. It's already circled on my calendar. It couldn't have worked out any better than that. But I think that when you look at Rabiot and why he's getting this move to Milan, yes, it is because of this fight that you just mentioned. Zebbi tried to mend things and keep him at the club. It didn't work out. But even before that, Max Allegri, who's basically his footballing dad at this point because he's obsessed with Rabiot wherever he's been, whether it's been at Juventus or even at Milan when he was first there. He says that he calls him all the time, that he talks to him. And with Yashari getting his leg broken in training after a scuffle with Jimenez, they needed a midfielder. There was a lot of potential names being thrown around. Rabiot is a guy, and I think that management from Milan, where I don't think they've always given Allegri everything he wants, this is clear to the coach getting the player that he feels like he needs in that midfield three. I think that he can bring a lot to this Milan side. Is it a signing that gets me extremely excited? No, but the coach is getting what he wants, and I think that helped them.
the script is perfect. Of course, it's facing the team that has row. They just got row as well.
What are the odds?
I mean, just the script for Serie A, it's almost like it's been written already. Napoli, let's talk about the champions. They obviously had a fantastic summer with a lot of their signings. Lukaku goes down with a serious injury, so they have to go back into the market. Now it seems like Rasmus Højlund is on his way for Manchester United. And in fact, Aurelio De Laurentiis, the owner of Napoli, has just tweeted, "Benvenuto Rasmus." So that's pretty official. If anyone's going to make it official, it's going to be De Laurentiis. What does Rasmus Højlund bring to Napoli? He has experience in Serie A, and we've seen a lot of players have success leaving the Premier League, specifically Manchester United, to going abroad and having success. So how big of a signing is this for Napoli?
By the way, that's a very Serie A thing. The president of the team, he has to tweet out before the club gets to do it. That's how we know. That's how we find out all of Napoli's transfers. It's just the way that it is. It's something that we've gotten used to. I think that it's not necessarily a thing of leaving Premier League and going to Serie A, which is the reason why I think Højlund to Napoli is a great move. Number one, Antonio Conte wants him. Number two, I think he brings a speed to Napoli's attack, which they don't have. Even Lorenzo Luca, who they brought into the team, that offers you a different profile in his first two games, has not looked great. So I love that Conte is getting his guy. Conte has a history, a track record with making basically any player that he wants perform to the best of their ability. I don't fault Højlund for doing bad at Manchester United. He only scored 9 goals for Atalanta when they paid that record 75, 80 million euro transfer. He did not need to make that jump. He needed to be a youngster that's fostered and was allowed to make some mistakes. This 45 million transfer fee is, I think, more in line with the talent that he has. I think at Napoli, it's the perfect place for him to do it. As you mentioned, Lukaku is going to be out for who knows how long at this point. Maybe we could see him by January. And I think Højlund is going to be perfect. Think about it. He's got so much more service at this Napoli side than he will at Manchester United. You think of Kevin De Bruyne that's there, Scott McTominay, Anguissa, Noah Lang, Politano. He's going to be in dreamland. And I think that this is the perfect chance for him to finally break out and be that promising talent we saw just a few years back at Atalanta.
Marco, talk to me about Luka Hazmetovic from the Bosnian second division that Lecce has just I can't even
not that good
with Marco anymore.
That was too easy.
All right, seriously. Ademola Lookman, is he staying? Is he going? What's the latest?
I mean, the counter says 22 minutes, and I haven't heard anything, so I don't think he's going. And it's Groundhog Day all over again. You remember last year that he did not come to training. He missed Atalanta's game in the Super Cup against Real Madrid. He wanted the move. He never got his move. Then there's this famous gentleman's agreement, which doesn't really exist in football, that they'll sell him in the following season. And Atalanta have this sort of rule, I'll put it in quotes, that they only want to sell one big talent every summer. Out of nowhere, this offer for Retegui came in from Saudi Arabia, the 70 million. You can't say no to that. So now Atalanta were put into a bad position. They said that they would sell Lookman, but they can't completely dismantle their team considering they're in Champions League football. Their season's already been off to a terrible start. They have 0 wins in their first 2 games. They tied Pisa and Parma. So they can't sell Lookman. There was this rumors that maybe Bayern Munich were going to come in and they were only offering a loan with option to buy, and Atalanta was not going to sell him unless they got 45 million guaranteed, which personally, I think a lot of teams slept on Lookman this transfer summer. I would have spent 50 million for him, for example, if I was Napoli, right? I would have done it. They didn't come to it. He's going to have to rejoin the team. They're going to have to work this out. It's not a great situation. He does have a different coach. It's no longer Gasperini. It's Juric. But is that much better? I don't think so.
Interesting, because it was Inter was in form, Bayern was in form. He really wants that move, but Atalanta just said, no, we can't let him go. Got all these years on his contract.
I had read that at one point even Galatasaray was thrown out an offer to get Ademola Lookman.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, it seems like, for Ademola Lookman at Atalanta.